Welcome to episode 32 of the Sweet Nature Cruise Cast. Hi, I'm Linz. As always, I'm joined by Marky.
Hello.
Hello. And today we're talking scratching that cruise itch. But first, a little mood music.
Well, I feel I don't need to ask what you thought of today's mood music as you're laughing as we come out of the intro.
That is not music to scratch to.
Yeah, but I didn't know I don't know what your intro is going to be. All I knew is that we're talking about sort of desperation, toleration when you're booking a last minute cruise and scratching that bit. At no point when we've been sort of getting that ready was the scratching the itch term gone in. I was thinking like a little bit of a rush, a countdown type thing, but I'm guessing that didn't work.
No.
We'll keep trying.
We'll keep trying.
More mood music for the next episode.
Yes, that's actually of the mood.
Well, in my head it was.
I don't know.
You just changed it with
I don't
your
know what
wording.
mood you had.
It wants scratching an itch.
What is this? If we're doing is not scratching an itch.
Well, do you want to say what this episode's about?
I would. It's about when you've got what? When you've got a week at work that you need to take, and you think, "Oh, I can squeeze a cruise in there." You've not planned it. It's
When you've got a week's holiday.
when you've got a week's holiday. You know you need a holiday. You've costed land holidays. You've looked at the late availability, but you really want to go on a cruise. So, but the cruise you normally do might not necessarily be available, or if it is, it's quite pricey, and you just want to do a cheeky cruise week and scratch that itch.
So, what inspired us to have this conversation?
We're in this position. We don't talk about scenarios we never find ourselves
No,
in.
we generally speaking talk about stuff that is sort of front of our mind the day before.
Keeping it real.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to talk about that. As usual, we've also got some cruise news stories that we're going to cover. We've just got 2 stories, and we're revisiting a story as well.
Okay.
But no cruise confession this week. So that'll be back for the next
No, I'm
episode.
saving them for the After Dark edition.
for Lindsay's After Dark cruise confessions. Mm-hmm. They could be very bad.
Very good.
Or very good, depending on... Yeah. So one of the bits, coming on to the topic now then, one of the bits that we've sort of found ourselves in is that we want to get away and do a cruise in the other part of summer. We've got a very specific window
Mid-July.
Where you can take the time off work where other people are not off, where you've got a finite amount of holidays left because of cruises that we've already got booked later in the year.
Yes.
So we've found ourselves in a situation where we haven't got as big a choice as we would normally.
No.
Because we're doing it closer to the date and some cruises have sold out.
Yeah.
Or, as you said, some are too expensive
Yes.
because you're there. Or the type of cabins that you would normally go for
Are not
available
sold
as well.
out.
Whether that's an inside cabin or a suite or anywhere in between, the ones that you'd have wouldn't go.
Usually. Can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
Have you had your annual leave days approved now?
I will have them approved tomorrow.
Okay.
But that won't be an issue.
Okay, that's nice.
I haven't got the same challenge you have.
I do
work.
have a challenge.
Mine's a bigger team, so I can have 1 or 2 people off and still better take it off.
Yeah.
You have one of your team off and you can't take yours off.
Because
So
I'm instrumental.
because you're just so instrumental to it all. It falls apart without you there.
No, that's not true. Please don't say that. I feel that'll be brought up.
It's not like anyone would see it. It'd be fine. The part that we were then talking about in terms of, and I think I touched on it a little bit earlier, is sort of desperation for a cruise against toleration for
What you'll put up with.
Will you tolerate going on a different line, a different cabin? What levels of tolerance will you have in order?
Or
to
it's
get
just
on
a
it?
cruise, a cruise.
Yeah. Or do you at some point go, you know what, we won't do a cruise. We'll do something else. I'm talking generally, not specifically.
For this,
us.
okay.
Because we want to do it because we want to make some videos and do other bits and pieces.
You
but also
want to
get
make
away.
the videos.
The channel wants us to make videos. And we don't really do videos that are not about cruising. So it's not that we could go to Disney or something in the
No.
last week and then
And
do
it's still
Disney.
pricey.
It's not us.
No.
So do you want to sort of kick it off then? In terms of what are the things that you would tolerate and what are the things that you wouldn't tolerate when looking at a last-minute cruise then?
Okay.
Shall we start off with cabins?
Okay. Now, after Windstar, before Windstar, I would say that I need a balcony. And Windstar told me, I don't need a balcony. I'm not saying I need to do it internally, but I need at least a window.
So what you're saying is an ocean view.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Now, when you say an ocean view, there are different levels. On Windstar, and if you've not seen what we're talking about
look
there,
at you.
can go back and look at the Windstar one and you'll see it was a massive window with a little seat bench in front of it.
Didn't open, though.
Didn't open, but it was a huge window.
Yes.
Would you tolerate a porthole?
I might.
How big a porthole?
I would say,
Because if you look at, for instance, on Virgin,
yeah,
the portholes that they have in, for instance, Test Kitchen,
yeah,
you can sit in them.
yeah.
I don't consider that a porthole. I don't consider it a porthole when you look at what we had on Apex.
Are you
I'm on about a little round, through the round window type
that you
thing.
can put your face in?
You could put your face in, but nothing else.
So we're talking a small round,
A small round
round
window.
opening
Yeah.
that you can put your face in.
Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about. Would you tolerate that? In a window way?
What other way is there?
No other way.
No other way. I'm not you. I'm going to say,
So where's the line for you then? Because I'm trying to like keep us on track at least. You're going. I can see where your mind's going on here. Would you? Would an inside cabin be a no-no?
an inside cabin is a no-no. That is on
For
my...
definite.
That is on my... Oh, now you say that. Depends...
So let's say, for instance, we found today an inside cabin on a 5-night Virgin cruise that fit, and it was £400 a person.
Now, knowing what I know about a Virgin cruise, we tend to use the stateroom as a getting ready and sleeping in room. It's not, even when we've got a balcony, we don't necessarily chill out there. We tend to hang out on other people's balconies.
Or sitting in the dock at the back if it's
Yeah.
nice weather.
So maybe I would.
What about an inside one with like the virtual balcony types?
I don't see the
Are they
point.
still a thing?
I don't know. That's to me. That's look at what you could have won. I'm just like, it's quite a feature, but it's just gonna like, where's the air?
So, if you would consider a inside cabin,
Yes.
is there an inside cabin on? Or let me rephrase that.
Oh, no, there is.
Is there a cruise line that you wouldn't consider an inside cabin?
Oh,
on
I
them?
did. That's not why I thought you were going to ask me.
Because you just said that you'd consider it on Virgin.
I'd
because
also
a lot
consider
of
it-
the time you'd be elsewhere. We looked at
Yacht club. I'd take an inside yacht club.
yeah, they're very fancy.
On
We've seen them.
MSC.
They're lovely.
Yes.
Would you? One of the cruises that we looked at, but what didn't quite work out was Sky Princess, and all they had left were inside cabins.
For Norwegian fjords.
Well, and that's the other bit.
I'd
because
feel
if you were going to the fjords,
that I was missing out on
Yeah.
a fjords.
I think if you were doing like fjords in
It's
Alaska,
pretty reasonable, though. I've got to say.
it is. But I think if you're doing fjords or Alaska, for me personally, and we've talked about this on reviews, a balcony is an essential.
But is it when we've done it? Are we going to say, "Oh, look at that fjord we looked at last time"?
Yeah,
Are we going to be as awe-inspired,
I think so.
or are we just going to hang out?
I don't think you'd
with-
be blasé about it.
No, I don't think we'd be blasé, but we could also just be in the bar.
But if you look at, for instance, Alaska, when we had the balcony,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't have had the whales coming up to see your chips.
The whales loved my chips.
They did. So
I love chips.
you wouldn't have seen that. I think there are certain places where having a sea view at least is, to me, important. Other people might disagree, and that's entirely up to them. But
Sorry,
me,
I'm just thinking
Alaska
about chips.
Alaska and the fjords for me
Yeah.
are where I wouldn't
Where you're going to draw the line.
consider taking an
Okay.
inside cabin.
Okay.
If we were doing the Med, where we've done
Really?
lots of times.
When the Med can be sunny and warm.
Yeah, but if it's sunny and warm, I'll be out on the deck. I'm not bothered.
Oh, this is...
It's if it's somewhere, because you're not thinking of Alaska being sunny and warm, even though we've
No,
had sunny and
no,
warm
that's what I'm
days in them.
saying.
But you want to better see the scenery more.
Yeah.
Um,
And we had a big balcony for that one.
and sometimes some of the sights that you see very early in the morning or very late at night, like when you were stood at 3 o'clock in the morning.
It was 3:15.
You wouldn't have gone from your inside cabin to go stand on the top deck.
No, because I wouldn't have seen that mystical glow
No.
that was calling me outside and made me feel all magical and
And
like
you'd have missed that.
and like that.
So therefore, to me, that's a line that if you're in somewhere that's scenic, where you do want to see the scenery, an inside cabin's no good, even
that
last minute.
inside cabin's so reasonable.
But I would do an inside cabin to go down sort of the coast of like France, Spain, Portugal. That
But
wouldn't
that
bother me.
Sky Princess one is so reasonable.
It is, it's incredible.
And we love a premiere package.
We do. The Premier package.
And they've got an Alfredo's.
They have got an Alfredo's on there.
Oh, why aren't we
So,
doing that?
Well, let's come back to. Let's come back to
we haven't booked
cruise
anything.
lines.
It's on the list.
Yeah. Cruise lines. Is there a cruise line that you wouldn't really consider as a last minute one because you'd want a specific room or specific location?
No, I don't think. I think if it's a last minute, and then we've got things like travel to think about, then last minute means out of the UK for us.
Yeah.
So that sort of reduces down Barcelona and things because you
You
look
can
like
get there last minute, but you've got more
you've got
costs.
to pay. You've got to pay,
Yeah.
and you look like you're getting a good price on the cruise, and then the flights screw you. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, we've seen, because we had a look at a couple going out of Athens, and because we're relatively close out now, the flights were going to be like £1,200 return, which is like, it was the cost of the cruise again.
Yeah.
Whereas if we'd have booked it 4 or 5 months ago, they'd have been £400.
for Athens. Come on.
Which, you know, it's just
So it's
not valuable
UK.
enough.
I like that Sky Princess one. I'm going to cost it again after this call.
What else, coming away from cruises, that you're going to cost after this? Because I thought prior to this we'd narrowed it down to pretty much 1, maybe 2.
Yeah, but
Sky
I like
Princess
it.
was no
I
longer
like a
included on
Sky
there.
Princess cruise.
We haven't done Sky Princess. You mean you like a princess?
I like a princess cruise, and we haven't got a princess cruise this year.
No, we haven't. It just we had 2 last year, though. So it's one.
Yeah, I know,
2 over
but
a 2-year period.
Alfredo's, and we never got Alfredo's.
No, not on Ruby.
Not on Ruby.
Did we have it on Sun?
Yes, we did. It was my hangover cure.
It was, yes, I remember now. So, what else, when it comes to sort of last minute cruise booking, would you not tolerate them? So we've come away from cabins.
Yeah.
We've sort of come away from the cruise line. Where would you sort of draw the line on anything else?
Well, the issue I've got is that a lot of the cruises that we've seen that are available, that are going out of the UK, they can be quite traditional, and they might put you with other people. Now, I'm a nice person. I try to be nice, but sometimes I just want to have dinner with you.
Oh, you mean where it's main
Yes,
dining room?
yeah.
But I think that's a cruise line thing as opposed to it being
That's
a
what
last
I'm
minute
saying.
thing.
Yeah.
What you're more likely to find, following on from that, because you'd have that same problem whatever time you went. If you booked this 18 months before, and that's how they work.
That's how
it'd
they
be.
work. Yeah.
What you might find to be a restriction booking it so late would be that you can only get, for instance, early dining, or you can only get late dining.
Yeah.
Those options might be more limited.
Yeah. No, you're right.
You're probably not going to get a problem. You know, it's not like it's the week before. We booked a cruise 3 days before once.
We have.
Before. where then we couldn't even book excursions because the excursion window had closed.
Yeah.
At this point, you can still book excursions, still book speciality dining. So
Ventura's also available.
there's lots available. We'd cross Ventura out. I don't want to get into sort of the other ones that we're looking at on there, but what do you think about that?
That's it. Early dining for me is wrong in that I like to be getting ready when there's early dining on, and then I like to be having a cocktail. If we were then, I like to have a pre-dinner cocktail. If we're booked into early dining, that means I'm having I have to be ready for like.
Well, there are some cruise lines where early dining's 5:30.
Yes, that means I have to be ready for 4.
Well, it means you have to be getting ready at 4 o'clock.
No, I have to be ready for 4 because we like to be out for an hour before we go for dinner.
But I think you would change what you were doing if that were the case. You wouldn't be going, oh, we need to go for pre-dinner cocktails at 4
Yes,
o'clock.
we would.
No, we're just having cocktails. You don't have that sort of pre-dinner vibe at 4 o'clock. It's middle afternoon still. It's just drinking time, isn't it? So you're not going to get nibbles put out.
You
if you're
mean
on
it
a
makes
cruise
you
ship.
day drinking?
It means you're just having a drink. You're not going there when everyone else is.
No, but you would need to be, especially on gala night and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I don't want that.
But if there was the perfect cruise,
Would I tolerate it?
would you tolerate it? Or would that be, no, if all I can get is 5:30 dining, because bearing in mind, a lot of the cruise lines will have speciality dining.
No, we'll book speciality, we'll do
we'd be
that.
doing speciality on some of the nights anyway.
We'd do that. We'd do that.
So that wouldn't be the line in the sand
No,
for
I just
you.
wouldn't. Maybe do it once and
But
then
on-
speciality or buffet it the
But
rest
if
of
it
the
had it on
time.
formal nights, if it had formal, depending on the ship, then you do speciality dining that night.
Yeah, because otherwise I'm going to have to be in formal gear at 4. Formal at 4?
So in which case, that again is not a stopper to doing a specific cruise.
I'd still get on. I'd still like the cruise though.
And you can always ask when you get on, even if they've only got an option available.
Mm-hmm.
You can always go to the restaurant, and if they've got any availability, they do accommodate you.
Yeah.
And most ships, most cruise lines these days, have some sort of freedom dining type option
Some
at any
do.
time.
Some
thing.
do.
I know not everyone, but increasingly more so. And they will try and accommodate you. So I don't think that that's an absolute.
Okay.
So can you think of anything where it's, right, I would not consider doing this cruise then?
I mean, I'd try anything once. What was
Okay.
that?
I'd itch on both my eyebrows. I can't think of anything specific that would be an absolute red line.
Because if you're into it, aren't you? That's the thing.
And
And you'll
that's
tolerate it.
Yeah. It's,
And
we
you'll-
are desperate to do a cruise. We've got time where we want to do it, so therefore we'll do it. So therefore you're going to tolerate it.
You do. You're like,
Is it going to be your ideal?
no.
No.
But nothing's perfect.
And we could have been better organised. And anyone listening.
But sometimes the spontaneity is the thing.
It is, and when we've done last minute cruises, which our first P&O one on Ventura was,
That was very. Yeah.
that
yeah,
was 3 days before.
Yeah.
It's great because you're not counting down to it
No.
a month before, 2 months before. All of a sudden it's like, oh, we're going on
And
holiday
you
in 3
tend
days. I
to-
better do
Yeah.
packing and ironing.
Yeah, you tend to go more with the flow. So basically, if you need to scratch it, scratch it.
If you've got an itch. There we go.
Or you can put Sudocrem on it.
How does that work for a cruise? That'd be a big jar of Sudocrem. Shall we move on and have some cruise news?
Sorry, I'm thinking of a very big jar of Sudocrem now.
That'd be a big jar, wouldn't it? But before we got the cruise news, any sort of final points that you can think of?
I think I've pretty much said it.
Let's move on to some cruise news. So, as I said, we've got 2 stories for this episode and a bonus one, which is a recap of a different one.
Okay.
Or a revisit, rather. So, the first one, and we had to do this,
Okay.
because it's not right if either we don't have a princess or a virgin one.
Okay.
Well, we've no princess this week, but we have a virgin.
I might have a princess. Go on.
There's been a big update to Extra Virgin.
Okay.
So Virgin have been sort of making announcements of what they've been doing when the ships have been going at a dry dock. So Scarlet Lady had Lucky Lotus. Brilliant Lady has got Roja. Valiant Lady's going to have something. So they're putting those in.
Yeah.
But one of the bits that we've said for quite a while now is that of all of the restaurants that are on there, it's now Extra Virgin that's the one that we're least bothered about.
Okay, go on. Okay.
It's not that it's bad.
No.
It's just him.
Yeah.
So what they've now said, going forward, every ship is going to have its own unique dishes in Extra Virgin.
No, I'm not happy about this.
Why? Why are you not happy about that?
What about my affogato trolley?
No, you still have. There'll still be the.
Oh, thank God.
So it's not that the entire menus are going to be different. They're going to have certain things that you can only get on.
But I can get my affogato.
Yeah, but I've got some of the new dishes to give you an idea. So there's been no mention that the affogato trolley.
If that affogato trolley's gone, I will flip the fucking desk.
There's no mention that affogato's gone. I think you can take that as it's still there. Because that's your main reason for going in.
That is my main reason for going. That is a scratch I cannot itch.
No.
I mean...
So would you like to know some of the dishes?
I think I said that the wrong way around because I feel so passionately about it.
I'm going to tell you some of the dishes.
Go
So,
on.
Scarlet Lady.
Okay.
Tell me which of these take you fancy.
Okay.
Burrata cheese.
Burrata
Cheese even.
Yep.
With roasted bell peppers and ciabatta
Okay, that's okay.
and some balsamic.
Yeah, sometimes.
They've got something called a panzanella. Don't know what it is, but it's got pecorino cheese.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
A young chicken cacciatore.
I'm not into young chickens.
And then
I like a mid-chicken.
a mid-chicken. And then chico a pepe. Again, don't know what it is. Pecorino cheese in it as well.
I love your pronunciation.
Stunning, isn't it? Valiant Lady has got salmon crudo, mushroom fettuccine.
No.
How about this one? I think you're going to say yes to this. Gorgonzola crusted New York steak.
Yes.
Which, weirdly, they're serving with Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts?
I know. You just...
I mean, we like Brussels sprouts.
We do.
But at Christmas...
That's what you think of. So it'll be interesting to see what they're doing, because it's an Italian...
What they've done to the Brussels sprouts.
And fig jus.
Okay.
Resilient Lady has got a vegan arancini.
No.
A ricotta dish. And they've obviously got a good deal on Brussels sprouts with Virgin at the moment. Someone's been sort of tapping up a supplier. Roasted Brussels sprout. That's what it's called, the dish. With chilies, hazelnut and polenta.
You know what? I don't hate it. I don't...
What's the dish that they have in there that always looks quite phallic?
The artichoke.
The artichoke, yeah. So I'm interested to see what they do with the giant Brussels sprout, because the
They'll need
artichoke one's quite good. We'll see. And then Brilliant Lady, just to wrap these up, they've got a Tuscan farro soup, a frito miso, which is calamari.
I like that.
The bits and pieces. And a spaghetti that you can't have because it's got anchovies in it. So none of that for you when we go on Brilliant Lady.
The thing is, I like anchovies. They don't like me.
No.
That is the problem. I had to fill a form out because of my issue with anchovies. I have to fill them out all the time. I feel such a... I was going to swear then. I feel so ridiculous when we're in a restaurant and they say, has anybody got any allergies? And I have to put my hand up.
Well, yeah, and you're like, yeah, me.
Yeah,
but
me.
When we went on Queen Victoria and we're having a meal with
Tristan and Justin, the cruise boys.
I was the only one who didn't put my hand up. The poor waiter were there for 5 minutes making notes.
We need to get
what were wrong with you all.
We need to give... What the... It's not a choice. You're born that way.
You want. You used to like anchovies.
No.
You can't say I was born that way. You used to eat anchovies.
No, I had...
You developed an allergy.
I had them once and then they got me.
But you liked them.
That can happen with peanuts.
It can, yeah. So you weren't born that way.
No, well, I didn't decide one day that, you know what, I'm going to be...
No, it wasn't about being a fussy eater, that you had an allergy to.
I'll put anything in my mouth.
I feel that needs a...
Stop it with the face.
Well,
Stop
what do you
it in
expect
the-
when you make...
No, I mean, if it's tasty, I'm not saying dirt.
I'm thinking dirt. Shall we move on to the next news story? So
What is going on with this podcast today?
It's going off in all sorts of directions.
What's happened?
Let's get it back on track with a bonus cruise news story, which is an update. So you'll remember either on the previous episode or the one before, we talked about Royal Caribbean overselling Allure of the Seas.
Oh, yeah.
But they'd done an amazing offer for people
Yeah,
who
I liked it.
wanted
I
to
liked
get
it.
off,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
we basically
It
full
was like,
refund
cancel
and
me.
100%
Yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah.
So really good because we compared it to others.
P&O.
Yeah, different things where the entire ship were cancelled as opposed
Mm.
to voluntary ones, but we talked about it in there and also what Princess did, etc.
Yeah.
Anyway, we also said the thing that concerned us is why they oversold it twice.
You always oversell twice.
If you think that I'm doing an update to this, what does that suggest?
Has it happened again? I'm leaving. I'm packing my bags and go. If it happens again, there's no turning back, and I won't say I told you so.
Oh, well done.
I've
It's happened again. But not on Allure of the Seas. This time, Liberty of the Seas, on its Caribbean cruises, was due to go out on the 24th of May. Still is going out on the 24th of May, but it's oversold. So once again, they've wrote to people and said, if you can be more flexible, we've got an offer.
like in a bendy Phoebe Buffet
Yeah.
way.
I think the offer's even better this time than last time.
Really?
So the cruise that they were on were 5-night Liberty of the Seas,
Yeah.
which is same size, same class as the Independence, Independence class, Independence of the Seas. And what they've offered is a few different options.
Okay.
One, move it to a 7-night Symphony of the Seas cruise.
Symphony, oh, it's smaller,
pretty
but okay.
much same sort of ports.
Yeah,
etc.
Liberty, yeah. Similar,
Or-
yeah.
A selection of ones on Liberty of the Seas, including a 9-night one
Oh, nice.
for the same price. And on top of that, they'll give you 100% cruise credit as well.
They know how to do it when they cancel you, don't they?
They do. Or you can just take 100% refund and 100% cruise credit. So, again, if I were booked on Liberty of the Seas, I would be very tempted to take that 9-night one. Because you might want to go on that ship, and if you've got the flexibility, fantastic. Or definitely the 7 nights, because you're getting extra freebies on there. And again, they've said the same as before. If you've got any out-of-pocket expenses, they'll cover them as well. So, once again, well done for the offer. Stop overselling. When you get to 100% sold out, stop.
Stop.
Don't just keep selling.
No, just
I don't get how it keeps overselling on theirs.
know your limit.
Yeah, it is a little bit concerning, but at the same time, they haven't forced anyone off. So some people, we'd be absolutely ecstatic if
We were forced off.
No, if they said to us, "Would you like 100% refund and a free cruise that's even longer?" You'd be like, "Oh, go on, man."
Okay. It would still have the same dilemma that we're having right now,
would, yeah.
though.
So, officially, the second story,
Okay.
it's all about smuggling.
Smuggling.
Yeah. Now, we don't normally cover these sort of stories, but
No, we don't.
But
We're
this
not
one I
that
found quite
channel.
interesting. So the summary of it is don't do it. But 2 ladies were arrested as they departed the cruise, suspected of smuggling in very large quantities of cigarettes from Mexico.
Okay.
So the US Customs and Border Protection
Yeah.
at California's Long Beach discovered 749 cartons of cigarettes hidden within the ladies' 10 pieces of luggage.
Wow. I think the 10 pieces gave it away.
And I've seen...
Elliot and Mark from Cruising Gaze, they know how to pack, but they don't pack 10.
No.
If they're not taking 10 cases, no one else should need to take 10 cases.
Well, I think there is some thing in that. We may come back to that in a second. The limit for there is a maximum of 200 cigarettes or 100 cigars.
I mean, that's not an insignificant amount.
That's pretty much what you can do in the UK, I think. Neither of us
100
smoke, so we
cigars?
go.
Yeah.
100 cigars seems a lot more than 200
I
cigarettes.
love the smell of a cigar.
Oh, I love it. I love when we walk past places like Churchill's
just
on
love a
Q now.
cigar.
It smells amazing. We just don't smoke. The ladies willingly went through the inspection when they came back. I don't know how they thought they were getting away with it at that point. I mean, I don't think you've got any choice. They've said, we're going to inspect you. You're happy
What
for
is
us
it
to
the
do
little
it.
penguins say?
The little penguins?
Yeah, what
Which
is
ones?
it? The little penguin. The penguins.
I have no idea what.
From Madagascar. What do they say? Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
You obviously want smiling and waving.
Not sufficiently.
So, when they'd had a look at it, they had, so bear in mind the limit's 200.
Yeah.
They had 150,000 cigarettes. And this came from the Border Patrol, the Border and Customs. They said the average cost of a single cigarette in the US now is 40 cents.
Right.
So that meant they'd sell a carton for about $80.
Oh, like a big one?
Yeah,
Okay.
the packs, which would put the value of the cigarettes just short of $60,000.
Wow.
So the cigarettes were taken and destroyed.
Destroyed.
I'm sure.
Not that I'm a cynic. I'm not a cynic. I try to be.
I'm absolutely sure they were destroyed.
No, they are destroyed. I'm sure they have a thorough and firm process.
I'm sure they do. You could argue that they should sell it and use the money for charity or other things, as opposed to just burning them. But
I think they've
different
done that
conversation.
before, but that's a different podcast.
It is. The couple are likely to face a hefty fine. They haven't confirmed what has happened with them.
A hefty fine.
A hefty fine. But I think you hit the nail on the head with this earlier, that if you are considering doing this, and we're not suggesting you should whatsoever, don't take 10 suitcases.
Do you know what I find?
You're going to stand out 2 people carrying 5 suitcases each.
Do you know what I find suspicious?
What do you find suspicious?
When people cellophane the suitcases, like, you know, when they like,
They wrap them.
yeah, in cellophane.
I mean, there is reasons for that.
Yeah, but I think that makes you might as well just. I feel
If I were working in
Wrapped in
customs,
cellophane.
if I were wrapped in cellophane, if I were working in customs and saw that going through, you know, they have to pick them randomly.
Yeah.
I would 100%
you'd always
randomly
hit the
pick them every
cellophane.
time.
Yeah.
Because you're like, why have they wrapped it? But the number of times when we've been sat waiting for our suitcases to come off the
and there's been a
trolleys,
destroyed one.
and they've been shredded. You're like, I get why people wrap them.
No, I wouldn't
if
cellophane
you've
it.
got an older case or you've got things in it that are a bit more fragile and you want to make sure that they stay as safe as possible, I get that bit, but it would also definitely flag to me that if I'm customs, I'm
And
going
is
to open that one
cellophane in other places in the world?
up. Plastic wrap.
It's not like aluminium foil.
No. Why would you wrap it in tin foil?
No, because people call things different things.
No, cellophane wrap and film.
No, it is Mr. Cellophane from
It is from Chicago.
from Chicago.
I think we probably don't call it cellophane.
What do we call it? Cling film. We call it cling film.
I don't think we do call it. You don't wrap a suitcase in cling film.
It's cling film.
It's not.
It's cling film.
No, the
It's a
pla-
see-through
It's a see-through
film
plastic.
that clings
But
to you.
You don't use cling film in the way that we buy it for the kitchen to wrap a suitcase.
Please, I think it's cling film. Please put in the comments below. Is it cling film, or is it cellophane, or is it something else?
Who can say? Well,
And that made me think of Eurovision, but I don't know why.
it made you think of Eurovision.
Yeah,
Why?
pleather.
Pleather. What's that got to do with cellophane?
It's very closely related to cellophane. Cling film.
What? I think there's people who use both things, but I don't necessarily sort of link the two together.
I don't know what's the matter with me today. I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
You've got the wine. You've not eaten yet.
That's it.
You've been working.
That's it.
I think it's all gone to your head.
What's gone to my head?
The wine and lack of food.
That is it. That is it. You know what I had for my lunch?
What did you have feeling?
3 olives.
Do you want to know what I had?
What did you have?
A Coca-Cola Mawam strip. Mine's even worse.
But we have a good
We
breakfast.
do normally have a healthy
We have
diet.
a good breakfast.
Today's just not a good example for either of us. Where did you get 3 olives from? at work. That's so random.
This is a confession I'm not prepared to tell. I went somewhere with Leanne.
Did you go out for lunch for the second day running?
I didn't have a drink.
Why did you just have 3 olives?
No, not an alcoholic drink.
Why did you just have 3 olives?
Because that's what we had with our drink. That's not an alcoholic drink. Because we're so busy. We're very busy and we just needed a breather. So I met Leanne.
I was working from home today. I walked from where I'm sat now.
I was working in the office.
Yeah, but I was so busy. I walked from here to that corner over there and got a Mawam and walked back. That was my lunch break.
To Mawam's.
And on that, shall we draw this one to an end?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's the matter with me today. I've, look, my wine.
Cheers, me.
Oh!
That was a good one. And I'll play us out with a little bit of mood music.
Oh, my God. I'm so sorry.